Hi everyone, welcome to the May edition of Wavelength. Well, so far, 1998 has been a year of historic agreements for the LCRA. First, a decades-old water rights feud with the Garwood Irrigation District downstream has been settled. And now, a long-running battle over upstream water rights with the Colorado River Municipal Water District has also reached agreement.
As you may recall, we fought with the Colorado River Municipal Water District for years over the creation of Stacy Reservoir, which is now called the Owen Ivy Reservoir. We won all the legal battles but lost the political battle, so the reservoir was built. One of the things that we got in exchange for that was the right to call on water when their lake was full. Well, one, that water is very salty, so whenever we call on it, people between here and there get real upset. We have a lot of pecan growers, peanut farmers, and they're very concerned about the higher levels of salt in the water. And secondly, just the whole notion of out in West Texas, they're still in the drought, and they haven't come out of it yet. And in the middle of the drought, that we can call for a little amount of water just because their one reservoir is full, when most of their other reservoirs are empty, it doesn't make for very good feelings. We've called on that water one time in 11 years, and I regretted it tremendously because it seemed like it just made everybody mad for a thimbleful of water. So we tore that up, and we gave up a little bit of water, but frankly it's not of great consequence to us, and I think will pay us many, many dividends in terms of our relationship with our upper neighbors on the Colorado River. Cold hard fact is everybody up and down this river needs to be united working for the economic prosperity of the entire region from Dawson County to Matagorda County, and I think this agreement goes a long way in making that happen.
And now from Genco, here's news from the LCRA power plants. The Ferguson Power Plant in Marble Falls has become the first employee group to reach 100% participation in the LCRA Employees United Charities. All 43 plant employees now donate 70% of 1 hour salary per month to United Charities. This money helps deserving organizations and individuals in the LCRA service territory. Also, the Ferguson plant produces the most economical electricity of any gas-fired plant in the entire United States. That's according to the Electric Utility Cost Group, which sets benchmarks for performance in the industry. Meanwhile, at the Sim Gideon Power Plant in Bastrop, employees there have reached a safety milestone of 2 full years without a lost time accident. Sim Gideon, which normally operates as a peaking unit, has been running all 3 gas-fired units around the clock recently to help the Fayette Power Project in LaGrange conserve coal. Coal reserves have been low in recent months because of a slower than normal train service from coal mines in Wyoming.
In March, the LCRA teamed up with KVUE-TV Channel 24 in Austin to sponsor a half-hour severe weather special titled
Nature's Fury, Surviving the Storm.
LCRA used this commercial time to promote the benefits of owning a NOAA weather radio, which can warn you if severe weather is in your area. Here is a condensed version of that message.
As hard as we try at the LCRA, there is no way we'll ever be able to beat Mother Nature. Even with all of the dams, flooding will continue to be a problem for anyone who lives near a creek, a river, or on one of our highland lakes. The best way to protect yourself is to be informed, and the best way to stay informed is to own a NOAA weather radio. This simple device will alert you when dangerous weather is in your area. The LCRA is proud to have teamed up with the National Weather Service to install additional towers throughout Central Texas. Now, for the first time, you can get county-specific weather information that can definitely save your life. Keeping you safe during a flood is a partnership. I promise we'll do everything we can do at the LCRA. Please do your part by buying a NOAA weather radio.
Radar show very intense thunderstorms with rainfall rates over 2 inches per hour.
Well, I'll never forget that night.
It wasn't supposed to happen to us.
We'd gone to bed, sound asleep, heard this. I woke up hearing this swooshing noise. I'm not afraid of the water. I was afraid of the water that night. This was water rushing into our house. You just don't wake up to water that's going to be over your bed in a few minutes. And if we'd had the NOAA radio, I would have been awakened by an alarm system. You have smoke detectors protect you from fires. Why not have a NOAA radio to protect you from flooding or tornadoes or storms or weather? It just makes sense.
Our region is known as Flash Flood Alley. All rivers and streams throughout the hill country run to the Colorado. During a flood, our hydromet system collects information throughout the watershed and allows hydrologists to predict how much water will come into the highland lakes. We move the water from the hill country as efficiently as possible downstream using 5 dams along the Colorado River. We use Lake Travis as a shock absorber to hold floodwaters until they can be passed safely downstream. This giant dam is the only flood protection for the city of Austin and downstream communities. The LCRA is committed to protecting people and property during a flood. We're spending $50 million to modernize the dams, and more importantly, we have dedicated people who understand the importance of their jobs. And all of these services are done without spending any of your tax dollars. The LCRA was created to manage the floods, but we cannot prevent them. Please take time to know where the floodplain is and pick up a NOAA weather radio so you'll know when dangerous weather is in your area.
The Austin metropolitan area forecast for today, some morning low cloudiness, becoming mostly sunny by midday. High near 80
NOAA Weather Radio. Peace of mind.
It's hard work, and it's often done in bad weather conditions. Their job is to keep the electricity flowing. These electric linemen from San Marcos, Luling, and Bandera Electric Co-op are learning new skills in this Partners in Training program. The classes were started 1 year ago through a cooperative effort between the LCRA, its wholesale electric customers, and Red Simpson Incorporated.
It involves the classroom scenario with the workbook and the video. It involves the practical app out here in the field. And then also, we only have them for the day and a half. Then the home municipality or cooperative has them for the entire 30 days of that month. And we have what we call a field performance requirement that they take with them that lists certain tasks that we've covered in class that they need to practice in the field, and then they check off their proficiency on that.
I want to stress safety. If anything happens, the pole starts to fall, I want everybody to go over here in front of the digger.
The training course requires 1.5 days per month over a 4-year period and is certified by the U.S. Department of Labor. The LCRA has set up 3 training sites in San Marcos, Burnett, and Flatonia.
We had always been sending people to A&M for their short schools, 2 or 3 days and this sort of thing. Training budget was getting eaten up with the room and board, the travel time, and it was a hit and miss. And this program, when Alan Kunze brought it up, has a beginning, middle, and an end, and the fact that we can train all the guys here. We don't have the room and board to get more bang for the buck, and when the apprenticeship system is over, then you have a journeyman license, which qualifies them to go to work virtually anywhere in the United States.
The way I look at this also is we've got everybody coming in as a group from all surrounding towns instead of having people from out of state or 200-300 miles away. My men are actually able to talk with other municipalities and share their ideas and their work standards.
It's good for us. It's convenient for us. We've got the guys here in town that they're training. If something happens, we just pull them out and we can make up for it. So it's real convenient for us.
Currently, there are 39 students enrolled in the training course, and the response has been very positive.
This is a good deal for LCRA because
doing a number of things that our group works with on our cities. It's basically aggregating services together for our cities, bringing them a product at a cheaper cost, more convenient than they could get elsewhere. So it stretches their budget farther. They get more done. LCRA is playing a part in that, and I feel good about helping our cities being competitive.
Kunze says they hope to add training sessions for experienced linemen and classes for non-electrical personnel such as police officers and volunteer firemen who may have to respond to accidents involving electrical equipment.
Lake Marble Falls is the last link in the Highland Lakes chain of Lake Watch communities. The Lake Watch program was started by the LCRA on Lake Travis in 1995 to help prevent illegal activity. Today there are 1,800 members on Lake Travis and 2,000 more on Lake LBJ. Lake Watch, which is modeled after the very successful Neighborhood Watch program, expanded to Lake Inks and Buchanan in 1997. Now, through a partnership between the LCRA, Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, Burnett County Sheriff's Department, and police departments in Marble Falls and Cottonwood, Lake Watch arrives in Marble Falls.
It trains volunteers, very similar to the Neighborhood Watch program, to enable them to properly identify and how to properly report conflicts, things that are happening on or around our lakes to the law enforcement authorities so that they can respond accordingly.
This is another great example of the great citizens that we have here in the LCRA service area and their willingness to come together and support one another and support their communities, and we appreciate it very much.
LCRA's Lake Watch program is the first of its kind in the state of Texas.
As we continue to introduce you to LCRA's newest board members, this month we take you to Fayette County to meet Gail Linke. These rolling hills and rich farmland of Fayette County have been home for Gail Linke's family for 6 generations.
Right down there is the home where I grew up and home where my brother now lives, which was my grandfather's and my great-grandfather's and my great-great-grandfather's home. This is a really important part of my life being here. My roots are really deep.
Those deep roots today lead to her flower garden, where Gail says she can go to escape the stresses of everyday life.
But that's my therapy. As long as I have my garden and I can dig in the dirt, I won't ever need a therapist because I can go out there and just totally refresh myself.
Gail Linke is a wife to husband Gary, mother to 11-year-old son John, new member of the LCRA board, community activist, and she owns her own business.
That might be a good one then.
This is the Heritage Hallmark Shop in downtown LaGrange. Gail has been in business on the square in LaGrange since 1982 and moved into this newly renovated building back in November.
This is the oldest building on the square in downtown LaGrange. It was built in 1855. So it was in really bad disrepair. There was a business here, but it just needed a lot of help. So we came in here, signed a good lease with the owner of the building. We came in here and basically gutted it.
Gail calls her business a social expression retailer. That is, they help people express their emotions to others through special occasion cards and gift ideas.
It's always a constantly evolving thing for us. And seasons are big times for us. Of course, Christmas is the biggest, Valentine is the next biggest, and Mother's Day and Easter run a very close tie for third. But it's always changing, there's no doubt about that.
Gail Linke was appointed to the LCRA board in 1997 by Governor George W. Bush. Having grown up in Fayette County near the Colorado River, she has been aware of the LCRA all of her life.
It's quite an honor for me to be in this position. Again, it's not something I ever asked for or lobbied for, but it's just something that came to me. And it's an opportunity that I hope that I can make the very best of, because it is an opportunity for me to give back a little bit of what Texas has given to me. And this is my home, and I'm happy to do it.
She remembers the days when the LCRA was planning to strip mine for lignite in Fayette County, and how attitudes have changed in the last few years.
LCRA has become very positive, and that hasn't always been that way in Fayette County. At one point in time, LCRA was the enemy in Fayette County, and a lot of people were very unhappy about a lot of things that LCRA was trying to do. A lot of people thought they were being dumped on, that Fayette County was being dumped on by LCRA. LCRA has grown through that, and the community has grown through that. And probably one of the biggest things is what is now Cooper Farms. Probably something that's not very well known by a lot of people, including a lot of LCRA people. But that is a example of LCRA taking something that was very negative and turning it into something that is very positive.
Gail Linke's term on the board will expire in 2003.
I want to take a minute and express my sympathy to Bruce Nightingale's family. We were all shocked to learn the news about Bruce. He made a tremendously positive contribution to the LCRA, what I'd call one of our many unsung heroes. And when something like this happens, you don't have any good words to say. Perhaps the best thing to say is to the family is that we care for you and we're concerned and still consider you to be a part of this family, and our heart goes out to you at this very sad time.
Well, it wasn't long after Mark Rose recorded those comments about Bruce Nightingale that another tragic death struck the LCRA family. On April 27th, Bruce White was killed in an accident at the LCRA Service Center. Bruce had been an employee of the Transportation Department as a mechanic for the past 17 years. He's survived by 2 children, ages 9 and 5, and his wife Sharon.
I think at an event like this, it's appropriate to stop and think about all the people that are missing in your life. One of those individuals is Bruce White. His accidental death was about as big of a tragedy as any of us are ever going to face in our life. And my heart goes out to his family and to his 2 children and to his many, many friends. One thing, though, that was just almost overwhelming was the incredible friendship and love that was demonstrated at his funeral. And I think it proves once again, like this event proves, that LCRA truly is one community of individuals that care very deeply about each other. And it's in Bruce's memory that we dedicate our contribution to this event. It's in Bruce's memory that we work as hard as we do, and we'll work as hard as we can to be the best company that we know how to be.